All right, so the biggest thing you can do for yourself when you're considering wealth building and personal finance is not necessarily the spreadsheet, right? The sitting down and here's my incomes and here's my outgoes and It's about changing your relationship and changing the mentality you have about money. We live in a capitalistic society where advertisers are bombarding you every single day, trying to part you from your money for their product. Whether that's a new car, a new computer, a new cell phone, that $5 latte you're trying to buy, they're trying to separate you from your money. But we also live in a time of incredibly high productivity, wages, and downtime. The middle class has the ability to have a good lifestyle, a house, take vacations, and own or lease cars. But we seem to always be on that treadmill. So if you change your relationship with money, you change your thought process about money, you can unlock a lot of income that you can then pour into future investments. Now I'm going to do a video in the future about my investment strategy, but today we're going to talk about my top 3 books that'll help change your mentality and your relationship with money. All right, hey y'all, welcome back. If you haven't been here before, please click that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you love the video. If you have a comment, leave it below. If you have a question, an idea for a future video, let me know that below. And I will say up front, I am not a financial advisor. This is my personal opinions. Please consult a financial professional, right? You know what I mean. So the reason I'm here is because we live in a world, like I said at the intro here, of consumerism, where advertisers are bombarding us, whether it's on the TV, bulletin boards, on the internet, trying to part us from our money. But we also live in a world of abundance, and we need to have that mentality that we can save and invest our way to an abundant future. But you have to change your mentality towards money to do so. Most of us, no matter how much we earn, still live paycheck to paycheck, putting maybe a little bit aside for retirement because we've got the house, we've got the vacations, we've got 2 leased cars, whatever it happens to be. But if you start to change your approach to money, all of a sudden it frees up cash flow that you can invest for the future so that when you do get to retirement, you don't rely on the government sending you a check. And I've got 3 books right here that I don't want to say they quite changed my life, but they changed how I looked at money and my relationship with it. And I want to share those with you today. I strongly encourage you to go get them. I'll provide links below. None of those are affiliate links. Okay? This is just me offering advice and a little bit of wisdom from my past. And the first one is something you're probably never going to hear from another personal finance guy because this is super, super conservative, but it's called Your Money or Your Life, right here. And there's a sequel called Getting a Life. And this I read when I was in my mid-20s, and it is an absolute eye-opening book. I don't remember what year I bought it, but it was $12.95 when I bought it. And the idea is that we waste our money, right? Our income comes in, we spend it, but if somebody met us in a back alley with a gun and said, your money or your life, it's obvious. We'd give them our money, we'd give them our wallet, we'd give them our purse, whatever it happens to be. But when it's little decisions through the course of 40 years, let's say, we tend to choose our life. We as people trade our life for an income. You know, we wake up, maybe it's 6, 7 o'clock we leave for the office, we come home at 6 o'clock, we've gone for 11 hours, and now we have a couple hours to watch some TV and then go to sleep. We're trading our life for money, and that money is fueling the house and the cars that we need to hold a lifestyle or to go to our job. This whole book is a dramatic shift on that, of how far can you decrease your spending while increasing your investments into a point where they're going to cross, right? Where your income from your investments is going to exceed what you need to live on, and now you're free. This is a super, super powerful book. It is a little more extreme than I think most people want to address, right? Specifically the investment side of it, they talk about investing in U.S. Treasuries, T-bills, which have a very, very low percentage in interest and don't give off a lot, but it's very, very, very secure. But if you can lower your monthly expenses below what your T-bills are throwing off, all of a sudden you don't need to work anymore. It's a powerful book from that perspective, that there is a future, that you don't have to wait until 65, 70, 75 years old to retire. You can do so earlier by keeping track, keeping under control your monthly expenses. This doesn't mean you have to live like a pauper, that you need to build your own shed out in the middle of the woods. It just means you have to make smart decisions every single moment of every single day about where you're going with your money. Number 2 would be The Millionaire Next Door, right there. Strong book, and this one's based on research where they interviewed people who were millionaires, and they expected people who had private jets and drank champagne and things like that, right? What do we envision from the Bezos and the Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates of the world, right? But the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of millionaires in America, and the majority of them did not inherit their money. They're not the Waltons, right? They're people who started off, they saved, they invested, and very frequently they owned a small-ish business or a mid-sized business to get to that point. And it tends to be very mundane businesses. One of the most powerful things here is they were talking about how people decide to buy cars. And when they were looking at the cars, they expected the BMWs and the Mercedes, right? And the Jaguars, everything else. And they found out they bought a lot of Lincolns and Buicks and Cadillacs. And one of the comments in here was they seemed to buy cars by the pound. This is about not only maximizing your income, but also about those smart decisions of not keeping up with the Joneses, not having the fanciest, newest luxury car out there, not chasing, whether you can afford a Ferrari, private schools, things like that, but about making an income and keeping it for the future by buying essentially nice products, quality products, but not necessarily status products. Really, really strong book. And the last one might be the most controversial here, and that is Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace. But this is a little bit more of a step-by-step approach. And the general consensus, the general idea here is that debt is evil, all right? Whether you're paying 5% or 25%, debt is sucking the life out of you. And that means you have to work just to fund your debts every single month. And the whole approach here is that instead of buying that new car or leasing that new car, why not buy a used car? Why not buy a car, pay it off, and then pay off your other debt? It's called the debt snowball. If I pay off my car and I free up, say, $200 a month, take that $200, roll it into my next debt. I've not changed my lifestyle at all, but now I'm paying down my debt faster. Once you pay off your debt, you're building up a base, you're building up investments, and you're starting to build your security for the future. And I'm going to tell you guys, these 3 books, this is addictive stuff. I drive a 6-year-old car, almost 7-year-old car. My wife drives an old car, and we really like controlling our spending so that we have more to put for the future. Instead of living on that treadmill, we can start to see the end of the tunnel where maybe our house gets paid off. What is our next car going to look like? Well, if you've paid off your car and that was $200 and you're putting $200 in the bank account, all of a sudden you're building up a fund to buy your next car too. All of a sudden you're free from, honestly, the slavery of debt. These 3 books together will change your life by changing your relationship with money. I cannot overstate that at all. So let me know what you think. If you have a different book you'd like to add, if you have some comments, if you have some questions, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you below.